Welcome to the Fiscal Matters podcast, where we delve into the intricate world of public procurement in South Africa. I'm your host, Lwazinchangase. Today I'm joined by Gianne, who's a researcher at Financial and Fiscal Commission. Welcome, Gianne.
Thank you, Lwazi.
The public procurement contributes 20% to the GDP. Government is the largest procurer of goods and services. The government spends in excess of trillions of rands in procurement of public goods and services. How does public procurement shape up the economy?
So as you said, Lwazi, public procurement is a significant proportion of our gross domestic product. So to the economy, it contributes a lot. And spending over R1 trillion a year in procuring goods and services, this is critical for service delivery, for infrastructure development. So there is a real transformative potential of public procurement, and it can really be seen as the backbone of economic development, especially in an emerging economy like South Africa.
The public procurement is highly decentralized in the new inception of democracy. It faces numerous challenges of non-compliance, vulnerable to corruption abuses. What do you think are the main challenges of public procurement?
So with this decentralized system post-1994, the procurement, the regulatory aspect of procurement has become increasingly fragmented. And what this means is that procurement rules are spread far and wide across various pieces of primary legislation, subordinate legislation, regulations, instruction notes. So it's a very complex system to navigate, and there's numerous challenges that arise from this complex system. I mean, first and foremost, it takes a lot of time and effort to understand these rules and to try to comply with them. So this increases the transaction costs of procuring goods in the public sector. It also reduces efficiency with delays in procuring goods. I think an important aspect to mention is also for small and medium-sized enterprises. These enterprises may lack the capacity and the skill to navigate such a complex regulatory system, and the system could then exclude them from participating in it. So this not only undermines competitiveness, but it also undermines key principles of fairness and equity that are enshrined in Section 217 of the Constitution. And then also, from a supply side perspective, given heightened risks in the sector, given large transaction costs, suppliers could absorb these into the prices of their goods and services. So then the government may end up paying more over and above the market value for the goods and services it procures, and this undermines then cost effectiveness. So there are numerous challenges. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's important, I think, lastly, to note that in this very complex regulatory environment, there's a lot of non-compliance, which leads to various economic costs, and oversight of the system becomes extremely difficult, which then reduces transparency and hampers accountability.
There are numerous consequences of non-compliance with public procurement. The Zondo Commission exposed the numerous abuses of public procurement regulations in the three spheres of government and in the different SOPs. The Auditor General has highlighted public procurement abuses as the major risk to public financial management. Most material irregularities emanate from public procurement abuses, which result mainly in paid undelivered goods and in inflated prices. Some of the major costs of non-compliance with public procurement have been seen in Transnet, which experienced a financial loss of 31.1 million rands in the year of 2019-2022. Transnet or Prasa experienced a financial loss of 2.2 billion in the financial year of 2019 to 2022. Cogta experienced a financial loss of 103 million rands. So public procurement non-compliance has significantly affected the logistics sector. The Public Procurement Bill is among the most consequential statutes advanced in the Democrat era and will be responsible for governing South Africa's trillions of rands of annual procurement. The bill will aim to enhance efficiency in government spending and in government service delivery. The Commission welcomes the consolidation of the procurement into a singular regulatory framework. However, it has major concern whether the procurement bill will achieve its main aims and objectives to give effect to Section 217 of the Constitution. Since Gianna, you have done a research on the public procurement bill, please can you share some of the strengths and weaknesses of the bill?
Sure. So I think, as you said, the greatest strength of the public procurement bill is really that it aims to move away from this fragmented system and consolidate the regulatory environment. So it is a major milestone in South Africa's progress to reform the public procurement system and to transform it into one that gives effect to Section 217 of the Constitution. However, there are notable gaps and concerns that have been raised regarding certain provisions of the bill, and as well as looking at broader themes in the bill. So I'll delve into just a few of these themes. The Financial and Fiscal Commission is doing a much deeper, in-depth study of the bill, but I'll just touch on some of the themes. So firstly, from an institutional lens, the bill seeks to establish the Public Procurement Office as a sort of regulatory and oversight body. So this is needed to enhance accountability and compliance. So this is a positive development. However, there's a very grave concern here in that the PPO is situated within the National Treasury. And why this is a concern is because what the literature tells us is that the independence of such an oversight body is crucial for it to give effect to its mandates. And the bill states the Public Procurement Office needs to exercise its functions without fear, favor, or prejudice, and impartially. And having that body situated within the National Treasury, it creates concerns for its impartiality and its independence. So that's one major component of the bill in terms of how accountability mechanisms could be strengthened. Just one other related aspect concerning the Public Procurement Office is that the bill affords the PPO the power to issue binding instructions. Now, while instructions can play a useful role in guiding procurement rules, there may be some unintended consequences here that should be taken into account. For instance, if the PPO is overburdensome with instruction notes or issues many of them, then this could lead to increased fragmentation over time of the rules. And then that would have knock-on effects and bring about once again some of the challenges that we're currently facing today. So there's a need to ensure that we don't increasingly fragment the rules of procurement to avoid the challenges that we face today. But then also, on the other hand, instruction notes, the issuing of instruction notes is not subject to public participation, such as the case when regulations are issued. And a point can be made here that regulations might take preference because public procurement is such an intricate and complex sector to understand. And I think in terms of issuing new regulations or rules, the bill could really benefit from public participation in that regard. So that's regarding the PPO. I think perhaps one other aspect to mention is the bill's use of technology and advancements in e-procurement. So this is important for streamlining processes, for making processes more efficient, reducing transaction costs. And the bill does take some strides in promoting the use of e-procurement and in that way modernizing the procurement system. So that is a positive development. However, perhaps this could be exploited even further in the context of SOEs, where standardization is pivotal to the proper functioning of the procurement processes and reducing transaction costs, increasing compliance, and enhancing overall transparency and accountability. However, that being said, and what the bill is not explicit on, or what it's fairly a little bit unclear on still, is the need to have a differentiated approach also when it comes to procurement in different industries, particularly in the case of procuring specialized goods or products. This might warrant a more tailored or a different procurement process to ensure efficiency. So I think there's a delicate balance that needs to be struck there, and that isn't coming out very clearly in the bill, and we hope that that is something that might be tackled in the regulations that are still to come. So I think overall, Wazi, there are many advantages. The overall advantage being that this public procurement will be regulated under a single consolidated framework, which is what we need. But there are still various concerns and just areas in the bill where it can be strengthened.
In conclusion, the episode has explored how public procurement shape up the economy, the challenges faced, the consequences of non-compliance, the strengths and weaknesses of the new Public Procurement Bill, and as the Commission welcome the consolidation of the public procurement to a singular regulatory framework, we hope that it will achieve its main objectives and aims. That is, it will give effect to Section 217 of the Constitution. Thank you, Chiane, for the insightful engagement on public procurement.
Thanks, Lazi.
I'm your host, Lazi Njanga. Stay tuned for the next episode on fiscal matters.